Praise the Lord. Abba is good. God is good all the time. It's me, Ari does it. We can just call him Rashid. Um, this live stream. Oh, by the way, before I continue, can you hear me clearly? Let me know, please. Let me know. I walk outside, you can see. Let me know if you can hear me clearly, please. Let me know right now. I want to know. Can you hear me clearly? Let me know, please. Thank you. All right, you can all hear me clearly. That's good. Clint, you see, I'm glad you're here, Clint. Joanna is here. Joanna Maria is here. Q is here. Maria Garcia is here. Dementia is here. Can the rest is here please show themselves, please? Thank you very much. Thank you. All right. Smooth Criminal. It's a song by the now deceased Michael Jackson, known as the King of Pop. Wow. This Judean man, he had talent in dancing and singing. Okay? But I'm not here to talk about Michael Jackson, but that song, Smooth Criminal. A lot of people hear the song. They like the song, they dance on the song. But do they have any idea what the song is really about? Yeah, there's one phrase, Annie, are you okay? Are you okay, Annie? He keeps asking this girl, Annie, whether she's okay. Annie is a shortening or of Anna. If a woman's name is Anna and you're close to her or she's a little child, you call her Annie. So Annie is form of endearment of Anna. You know what I mean? So either it's a little girl he's talking to or a woman he's close to. He keeps asking whether she's okay. And then he explains to her, you've been hit by a smooth criminal. And many people just listen to that song and they don't capture it. What is smooth? Smooth means things go easily. When things go easily, when things just happen without any struggle, without any hindrance, that is smooth. So a smooth criminal is a criminal that gets away with what they're doing. That's what it means. Now, my question to you: if the song is about a little girl being targeted by criminals who get away with it, that means there's child predation going on over there. If Annie is not a little child, but a grown woman he's close to, that means that there's sex trafficking, whatever goes on. So that song itself was disturbing. I'm not saying you can listen to the song and enjoy the beat and dance on the song if you want, but the lyrics are disturbing. A Smooth Criminal. But let me tell you one thing: the music video, the long version around 13 minutes, was even more disturbing. You see the worship of Egyptian gods in the music video. You see Michael Jackson as this wizard dressed in white coming in, and these chief warlocks were dressed in black following him, because how it goes out there. The chief wizards tend to wear white, and the top warlocks tend to wear black. So that music video of Michael Jackson, Smooth Criminal, it revealed a lot about the world out there. But a lot of people don't pay attention to that. Now, I'm using that clip and song of Michael Jackson to explain something to you over here. Society itself is a smooth criminal. Okay, repeat it after me in the live chat. Society itself is a smooth criminal. Hey, I want you to put it in the live chat, each one of you. Society itself is a smooth criminal. Society itself is a smooth criminal. I want to see it up here in the live chat, so write it down in the live chat for me. Everyone repeat that society itself is a smooth criminal. All right, I'm waiting for it to appear. I at least want to see 3 of you who've repeated it. Society itself is a smooth criminal. Repeat it. Yes, this is something you need to remember very well. Because when you think about it, what society does is when you're a child, as a child, you can't do anything for yourself. Because you're just a child, you can't do anything for yourself. You're dependent fully on the adults around you. Not just your mom and dad, but the adults in general. And society tells you, listen, when we get upset, we put you in prison or we neglect you and you die because we neglect you. So, you don't want us to do that towards you? Be a good boy, be a good girl. That society does. So, society comes with a narcissistic threat. Give us what we want, which is make it easy on us. Only talk when we allow you to talk. And when we do allow you to talk, when you allow you to speak, you speak what you want to hear. Never think you're important unless we agree you're important. Society has narcissistic threats that they package in a different way. Only with some children are worldlings direct with their narcissism. But with most children, they tend to mask it, saying this is good manners, this is politeness that we're teaching you. It comes down to this: those grown folks in the world, the majority of them are cowards, and they don't want to deal with anything in life. Just want to have ease 24/7. And as a child, you are a challenge because you remind them they owe you something, even if you're not their child, because you're part of the community that's needy, and they used to be needy like that too. It reminds them that listen, they owe you something. And a lot of adults can't handle this. That's why they put all the blame on the parents if a child ends up badly later in life. Listen, your mom and dad are not the only ones responsible for you. The whole community with the whole community, many of the adults are responsible for the environment you grew up in. Your mom and dad are not the only ones that make up the environment that shapes you. Everyone around it. So if your mom and dad always taught you not to smoke, but all around you, smoke is promoted and smoke is pushed on you in the culture, then guess what? Eventually, if one day you say, you know what, let me just smoke once, I'm not going to do it often, and you end up addicted to smoking, listen, the environment shaped you to think smoking was an alternative lifestyle. There was something wrong with it. Your parents may have known better, but they used to smoke also, so they're not a good example. So it's not just your parents that have to be of a good influence onto you. Everyone around is responsible for the environment that's formed. But this is something most adults don't want to hear, because most adults want to escape. They're cowards. But the same adults that escape want recognition as if there's something important. And only people that can get away doing this to his children. So society, which is how worldlings escape, they teach you as a child, if you make it easy on us, you'll be safe. If not, we do something to you. But the last part, we do something to you, they always are very vague about it. Unless you are the scapegoat as a child, then you're open about it. Now, once you're in your teenage years and you really want to be part of the community, you begin to notice a lot of things won't add up. But hey, because you are about to turn 18 and you really want to be part of what you think is life, you kind of sugarcoat all the inconsistencies of your parents and the people around you. You tend to give excuse to them. Then you enter in your 20s and you end up operating in the same dysfunctional way. So now you excuse yourself too. But when others do the same thing, you get harmed, now you're all upset. So since little by little, you become just narcissistic as the people that raise you. You the parents, people around you. And then you realize, oh shit, I turn out just like them. Well, that's how it goes in the world. When this happens to you, you realize, shit, I turned out just like those adults were fucked up. You can say, you know what, I don't want to be fucked up. I want to improve. I want to become better. If you do that, praise be unto you. You'll likely become a believer. But if you keep on making excuses, then you're part of the problem. Simple as that. This is how it goes. Now, there are teenagers who don't sugarcoat things, like I was, and who don't give excuses, like I was. And such teenagers tend to become believers quite quickly. They tend to understand things quite quickly. And though to my background with knowledge of paganism and the paranormal, I saw through a lot of things already at age 12. So I didn't have any motivation to make excuses for society. Just understand the following. Anytime you notice an inconsistency about the adults around you, I don't talk about one, two, or three adults, I talk about the population in general. If the adults around you in general, if they're inconsistent and you don't admit it to yourself, you are not becoming part of their inconsistency because they're inconsistent, because they're not operating according to their natural design, which will be beneficial both for them and to you. As human beings, we are community creatures. We only know that. Hold on, hold on. Some people are talking loud. Okay. Some, no, let's just say, the, as community creatures, we need to look after one another. As a human being, of course, you look after yourself. You wake up in the morning, you brush your teeth, you wash yourself, put your clothes on, you watch left, right, left before you cross the road. So a little bit of self-focus is good for you as a human being, of course. But you're not designed to be fully self-focused as a human being. That's unhealthy. That's self-destructive. But a lot of people end up stuck in a self-focus because others are not looking after them. Or if they're being looked after, it's only when someone else gets something out of them. You hear me? And that's how a lot of people end up addicted to smoking, drugs, porn, or whatever. Because it's not a good emotional connection with the community. But then nobody wants to admit it because everyone is part of dysfunction. Listen, the moment the adults around you don't want to be better and safer adults, they have agreed to be self-destructive. They've made up their minds that they don't want responsibilities. So if that means that they're all going to shit, we all go to shit. Simple as that. That's what they've agreed to. The moment you notice inconsistent about the adults around you, I don't care whether you're a teenager or you're a full-grown individual. Listen, you admit it, especially if it's inconsistency in your parents or people that are far, quote unquote, older than you. When you don't admit inconsistency of the adults around you, you actually are giving them a pass to continue to operate that way. So if the people around you are okay with beating children, but they're not okay with beating a woman in the street, you have to hold on a minute, guys. A grown woman who chose to be sexually involved with a man consensually, she can walk away. She has that option. Or she scream for help, and others will help her. But a little child who couldn't choose who his or her parents could be, who doesn't have the opportunity to fight back or easily walk away, they have to take an adult hitting them. I'm sorry, but what the heck is this? So it's not okay to hit a grown woman, or because it's violence against women, it's misogyny, but it's okay to hit a child? If you notice this attitude in people that they're tolerant towards children being beaten, make excuses for the parents doing it, but they're not okay with a woman being beaten in front of them, I'm telling you, they're narcissistic and inconsistent. Why? Because a lot of people expect to get sexual favors from that woman if they help her out. That's why there's a potential for them to get sex out of the woman. Or if the woman talks good about them, other women may be more open to them sexually. There's some hidden expectation of sexual favors. That's why when it comes to a grown woman, they're not okay with a grown woman being slapped in front of them. They're not. If it's a child, yeah, what can you get out of a child? A child's more likely to see your inconsistency and call it out. And that's painful. So a lot of people are more tolerant with children being hurt than a grown woman. It's not that they love women in general. It's just that they expect get something out of the woman, namely sexual ease. But from children, they can't expect that. Children are more likely to force them to face themselves. They don't want that. So understand this. If, for example, there were times I've noticed people being kind of okay with children being beaten, and I call them and say, "Listen, would you think it's okay for your wife to be beaten by her employer? If the employer's upset, the guy would say, hell no. Okay, then why is it okay for a child who can't escape, who can't leave the situation to be beaten?" And I said, "Rashid, you're telling the truth. It is fucked up." What the heck was I thinking? But then I had believers saying, "Rashid, I know beating children is wrong, but sometimes as a parent you're just a bit upset, or sometimes the child is just won't comply to make it easy on you." So I had believers make excuses why it's okay to beat children. I ask believers, if your parents were fucked up towards you, now you're grown men suffering mental illness because of it, should you still honor those people? For why should you honor them? Yeah, but it's written in the Bible. Okay, but apart from the Bible, we need to use common sense in life too. Not everything in the Bible is applicable for today in every situation. Yeah, it was written in the Bible, so I had believers becoming part of child abuse by enabling child abuse by not admitting this fucked up. This needs to improve. So anytime you notice inconsistency in the public around you, I'm not talking about the children because the children cannot help themselves if there's inconsistency. I don't talk about people in the early teens because in the early teens you're just discovering what happens around you. I'm talking about people in the late teens and older. When you notice inconsistencies in people in the late teens and older around you, and you don't admit to yourself this is wrong or this is off, this is creepy, then it's on you when their behavior continues. But Rashid, they're the ones doing it, not me. Okay, but just because they're the ones doing it doesn't mean you have to stand there and let them easily do it. You know what I mean? So if someone is about to kidnap a child, are you going to just stand and say, "Oh my God, he's kidnapping a child," or the child is screaming? No, you're going to scream, "Hey, what the fuck are you doing?" Or you're going to call the cops, or you may jump on the guy trying to kidnap the child. You're going to do something, right? So just because the guy is doing the kidnapping doesn't mean you say, "Oh, I'm not doing the kidnapping. It's not on me." Well, listen, if you're around and if you're able to hinder the kidnapping, you don't do it. It's on you that he's doing it. Simple as that. Even the judge in the courthouse would agree with this. So understand this: if you suffered neglect or abuse while growing up, and the adults around you knew your parents were messed up and didn't deal with your parents, the whole community abused you. The community violated you. Simple as that. So if you suffer mental issues as a grown man or grown woman, whose fault is it? Not you. You did not choose the environment you were born in. The environment chose to neglect you and violate you. So it's on the environment to help you out now. But what happens? They tell you, "Oh, you need to look for a therapist. You need to go into therapy. You need to this and that." They put the whole charge on you as it had nothing to do with how you turned out. I'm sorry, but the same community that violated you by not putting your parents in check or by not make sure there's help available to you, the same community gets upset with you where you're not polite, where you don't pay taxes, or where you don't obey the law or whatever. So they demand from you and they insist on you recognize them, but you're an option. What the heck is that? It's violation. The community violated you. Okay? And you have to take account of the past. If you've been violated by your community, admit the community violated you. If you've been neglected by the community, maybe it's not child abuse. Maybe it is not like that. But if you notice somewhere you were violated, let's say there's a lot of sex trafficking going on. Well, let's say there's a lot of sexually violent men out there, and you are a girl growing up in the community, but they never taught you how to recognize dangerous men. As a girl in your late teens, as a grown woman in your early 20s, you date a bunch of men who almost killed you. And now you found out that a lot of the other women you got later in your life, in your late 20s, had friends, family, even people locally, teaching them how to recognize a safe man. And now you look back on life and think, "Oh my goodness, nobody taught me how to recognize a safe man. Nobody told me what safe sex really is. They only taught me put on a condom or take the pill and just do your thing. They never taught me how to have safe sexual relationships. They never taught me how important it is to recognize red flags in a guy." And now you look back on yourself and realize, hold on a minute. Some of those guys I've dated could have killed me. I was deformed into thinking that just because I'm attractive, all guys want to treat me well. And now in my late 20s, I'm thinking, well, what the heck was I thinking? In this case, as a grown woman, yes, you should, somewhere you could realize what's going on here, but still, even though you were wrong for acting in a weird sexual way, it's still on the community too for shaping you that way. We can't put all the blame on you. The community has to account too. You hear me? See what I mean? You have to take account of the past. Whether you were the victim or you were influenced the wrong way, let's say you were the victim, or let's say you were the one neglected. Admit it happened. Once you admit it happened, you also admit, okay, these people are not safe to be around. Because if you've been neglected by your community, if the community violated you, and you don't admit, not even yourself, that the community violates you, it means that you're part of the delusion. Those are safe and good people. And then other human beings will be harmed by them too. So you become part of the harm that goes on. So from a victim, you become a collaborator. You hear me? Same with you guys. If you're a man, you're a grown man now. and you never had anyone pushing you to develop emotionally. And now, as a man in your 40s, you have to go to therapy often because of anger issues that develop by you being emotionally neglected when you were growing up. Listen, as a grown man, I give you props. You recognize you were dysfunctional and you wanted to be better. That's the only thing you could do. Now you look for help and you got help. But here's the problem. How come you end up so dysfunctional? You can't put all the blame on yourself. You need to take account of the past. You were violated because community was not present in your life. Simple as that. You can't say it's all on you. It's not all on you. It is on you to want better and to be better. That is on you, but not everything is on you. You hear me? Society tells you it's all on you. But listen, it says all on you, right? But if you end up better, they want credit from you. Hold on, I thought it was all on me. Why do you want credit if it's all on me? You see what I mean? So listen. But let's say you were not the victim. Let's say you were the one that was neglectful because you just want to be left alone and live your life, do whatever you want to do, would not take account of the community. In this case, you were the perpetrator, you were the victimizer because you didn't want to be, you didn't contribute long term to the well-being and safety of the community. You just built whatever you built. If that's you, then sorry, but you were bad news. You're one of the reasons why bad things were going on in the community. So it's good for you to feel bad about yourself concerning that. I'm not telling you to feel guilty all the time and get sick because of feeling guilty, but you should feel bad about how you used to be and be motivated to be better today. In the world, they come with excuses so they don't have to feel guilty about neglecting the community. If you neglect the community, you were a victimizer and a perpetrator. Simple as that. Face yourself for what you were. You were a horrible human being. You were not trustworthy. You were not reliable, nor trustworthy. You were bad news. Simple as that. And be motivated to be good news today. Simple as that. I'm not going to pamper you and sugarcoat your abuse. I'm not going to do that. I'm calling out what it is. In this case, the one that was victimized had to take account of the past, but also the victimized has to take account of the past. So that everyone complies with justice today. Simple as that. But here's the issue. Are people in society doing the same thing? No. People don't want to take account of the past. Especially when it comes to sexual dysfunction, people don't want to take account for it. Why? Because then they have to face themselves and how narcissistic and abusive they are. And nobody wants to face that. So they look for villains to objectify. They want bad guys to fight. That's where all the comic books are based upon. The public wants to have bad guys fight. Because if there's a bad guy, you can blame all the dysfunction, all the hurt on the bad guy. For a minute, it's not the bad guy doing all the shit. It's not the bad guy cheating on his wife. It's not the bad guy holding around in the streets. It's not the bad guy faking that they're better off than they really are. It's not the bad guy who is tolerating child abuse. It's not the bad guy who doesn't want to face things. It just wants to escape all the time. The bad guy may be doing some things that are wrong, but he's not doing all the things that are wrong over there. If the bad guy was the only one doing wrong, then it's all on the bad guy. But if the bad guy was the only one doing wrong, that means most people would be unharmed. The fact that most people are harmed and it's functional means that all people need to take account and become better, safer human beings. But no, the world wants to have a villain to objectify. It's what they want. You hear me? And then, listen, the villain is often one of their own victims that turn into a monster. Now, I don't endorse victims turning into monsters. I don't have sympathy for that. No, you shouldn't embrace the dark side. But let's say there's some victims who turn into monsters. The Heavenly Father does not owe anyone that community protection if they're the ones that brought forth that monster. You hear me? That's why God is not stopping those serial killers. That's why God is not stopping those terrorist attacks. That's why God is not stopping any of that. If the community abused their own people so much, some of them turn into monsters, they have to deal with those monsters that they brought forth. Simple as that. God's not going to intervene at all. He may intervene for certain believers, but not going to intervene for the community that was okay, hurt, and killing their own. Simple as that. But anytime a victim turns into a monster, everyone objectifies, oh, he's a monster, he's a monster. Okay, but how did he end up as a monster? Why didn't anyone intervene? Why didn't anyone do anything? Oh, no, we don't go there, Rashid. It got so uncomfortable. They just want monsters that they can attack. But they don't want to do the attacking themselves. They want the good guys to come and do the attacks, whether it's the police officers or whether it's the politicians to come and do it. Or In movies, it's a superhero like Batman, Spider-Man, whoever comes and beat up the bad guy. The bad guy is a monster they brought forth as a community. And now they want one of the naive people to take on the risk of fighting the monster they brought forth. So they don't have to deal with the monster. You get me? And in the Batman franchise, it's the Joker character that exposes the thing for what it really is. It's the Joker that keeps telling Batman, Batman, you're not really the hero. The people are just using you. They're not into solutions. You hear me? The character Two-Face from the Batman franchise found out this the hard way. Watch the Dark Knight, that movie. You know what I'm talking about. So the whole good guys versus bad guys is just a hoax. What you have is a population that's neglectful. Some of the victims of the population turn into monsters, and the monsters begin to harm the community. And now everyone wants to blame everything on the monsters. Now they want naive people who don't know better to fight the monster to so-called be the hero. And then the public gets all about those naive people and just continues to abuse and neglect like they always did. You hear me? That's why Jesus said, don't cast your pearls before swine. Jesus didn't call us to be the good guys fighting the bad guys. Jesus didn't call us to do that. Because the good guys versus the bad guys is the duality of society. And Jesus wants us delivered from this duality. All right? Society is a smooth criminal. And this is something you'll notice about worldly people. Now, not every worldly individual is evil, a narcissist, or demon possessed. That's not true. That's not true at all. And not every worldling is a portal for misfortune. Okay? There are decent worldlings out there. There are worldlings out there with a good quality of mind because they have a good heart, as they would say it. They exist. But they're still unbelievers, they're still worldlings. And because of that, they are dysfunctional to the core. We understand that, spiritually speaking. But understand, even if a worldling is not evil, a narcissist, or a demonic portal, there's still it's still deeper dysfunction. That's something you need to remember. All right? But understand, there's one thing about worldlings in general. I said in general, you need to pay attention to. Eventually, they're all thieves like Satan. All worldlings turn into thieves eventually. Think about the recruiter that needs to recruit someone for a job. The previous people that left the job were drained and exhausted. Some even had mental breakdowns because of the job. But the recruiter will never say this during the interviews. The recruiter will pretend like this job is the best job you can get. And guess what? You end up applying for the job. You end up falling in love at the workplace. You end up signing the contract to work there. And within 5 months, you have a burnout. You're mentally broken down. And now it takes maybe a year or two for you to recover mentally. Those 2 years that it took you to recover are 2 years you'll never get back. So that recruitership for the job should have warned you that this job is going to be quite stressful and you may have to consider another job. But likely he won't do that because or else he won't get paid. He needs to find someone for the company. So just to get his paycheck, he became a thief. He robs 2 years of your life. You hear me? Think about the woman who just wants to have sex, but she's not really interested in staying with you. She's just staying with you just to get the sex, the sexual touch. And she keeps, so you think, oh, this woman loves me, she gives me wild sex, all of that. Well, she's just looking around for better guys. She lets you think she wants to be with you. And eventually will ghost you if she has enough of you or she so-called finds someone better. The time you spend with her, you won't get it back. All the sex you have with her, you can't unsex her, okay? You have to live with that sexual trauma that she took advantage of you as long as you live. And this trauma, you will take it with you into your future marriage. If you have children later on, when you raise your children, they're going to be affected by this trauma too. So this woman not only robbed you, but also your future children, your future wife, of a good family life. You get me? So, worldlings, eventually, they all turn into thieves. Now, they may not physically steal from you. By the way, Jesus owns everything. We don't own anything, only have possessions. But from a societal point of view, stealing means taking away a physical object that you don't have a claim upon. That's really what stealing means according to society. They will not do that because they don't want to be arrested by the police or they don't want to have a reputation loss. But they will steal your life force. They will steal your attention. They will steal your good qualities. They will steal your feelings. They will steal from you. Satan is a thief. So everyone that insists in escaping becomes just like Satan. They're thieves. And let me tell you, when you are around people like that who are turning into thieves, again, they may not steal, they may not jump into a car and drive away with it, because then the police may catch them. So they won't do that. Or they may not hack your bank account and steal your and take away your money, because then again they'll get the criminal record. They will not do that, but they will take away from your life unnecessarily. They'll take away from you. They'll take away your focus. They'll take away your emotions, your feelings. They'll take away your effort, your sexual strength. They'll take away all of that just to get something out of you. And guess what you get? What do you get back? Nothing. Now, people like this, when you are around them, you already feel like you're being robbed. If you walk, let's say you walk down the street and you see two guys, two gang members walking towards you. One carries a big machete, the other one has a gun. You feel in danger. You think, shit, they'll walk towards me with a machete and a gun. You know what's about to happen. So you're ready to pick up your wallet and throw it at them. Here you have it. Take it all. You feel the danger they're about to take from you. If you don't allow it, something bad may happen. Let me tell you, the same sensation you feel with a lot of people who don't have physical weapons. They may be wearing a suit at work, or she may be a party girl with a sexy dress or whatever, or they may be a lady in church. So they don't carry, or they don't walk. They're not all gang members with knives, machetes, guns, all of that. No, they're not. But you still feel as if they're about to rob you. You feel this robbing sensation around these people. Well, let me tell you, when you feel this robbing sensation around someone, it is because that is what they are. At some point, they will steal from you. Why is it stealing? Because you don't give anything of value in return. If they give something of value in return, it's not stealing, it's just an exchange. If you are involved with people and they don't give you anything of value in return in the long run, then they're stealing from you. Simple as that. That's how it is. And here's the issue. A lot of people, they experience this robbing sensation inside of them, but because the individual has no knife, no machete, no gun, they think, why do I feel this way? So they brush it off. I'm telling you, don't brush it off. Do not brush it off. That robbing sensation is a warning signal in your body that the other individual is not trustworthy. If you feel this around someone, they may not even have bad intention with you. They may not even have bad intentions with you. They may rob you without being aware of it, because that's what it is with these people. They rob you, not even aware they're robbing you. You follow me? They rob you and not even aware of it, because that's just what they do. They escape, and because they continue to escape, they drain everyone else around them. That's how these people are. Now, there are worldlings who are exceptions, but those are exceptions. The rule is worldlings, they take, and take. And if they see that they have a leverage over you, they feel comfortable doing you dirty and treating you as less easily, because they feel like they can get away with it. If they don't have a leverage over you, you have leverage over them, they suddenly become the sweetest persons ever on their best behavior. And that's why Jesus himself never came in full power. Why didn't Jesus come on a big chariot with holy angels around him, emitting sunlight, all of that? Listen, if Jesus was to come as God fully, everyone would have bowed down and be at their best behavior, just because they want to take something from Jesus. And they would have used their good behavior to blackmail God into tolerating their bullshit. You hear me? That's why Jesus came as a vulnerable human being born in a manger. And guess what? People revealed what they were. The same in our lives. Sometimes God will put you through difficulty just so the people around you will expose themselves. Because a lot of people around you, the only time you'll know what they really are is when they have a leverage over you. Listen, when someone is in poverty or someone has lack, of course they're going to malfunction. No human being is meant to function in lack or in poverty. So if someone has poverty or lack, of course it's going to malfunction. What do you expect? So don't think that it's a test of character if someone deals well with lack or poverty. No. The real test of character is how they deal with a leverage over other people. Okay? It's when people can get away with ignoring you that you find out what really are. It's when people can trick you to get what they want from you, and they don't do it. You realize, you know what, this individual has some value in their character. It's when people have all those options around them, and still they think about what can I do for my community. You realize, okay, these are good people because at least they want to do something for the community. But when someone has options and they only think about what they want, to be left alone, me, having being left alone, they know they're fucked up creatures who don't deserve any good. Simple as that. And some few believers used to be like that. Thank God you became a believer and you improved. Thank God. I praise God for that. I'm just saying what is. I'm not sugarcoating the past. And listen, you don't have to tell everyone all the details that happened. If you were sexually abused as a child, you don't have to tell people how often it happened. Just let them know, you know what, there was some sexual violence happening to me as a child. And people can say, oh shit, they can fill in the blanks. You're like, this bad. If you were if you were a drug addict, tell them, man, I used to be addicted to drugs, but that's over. Then they can fill in the blanks. You don't have to tell them where you got the crack, where you smoked it, who your smoke partners were, and all that. You don't have to tell you have to tell who your dealers were. No, just let them know you smoke crack. Then people understand. Okay, this is something we have to pay close attention to. You. If you were sexually dysfunctional or sexually loose, admit you were sexually loose. You don't have to tell everyone how many people you slept with. You don't have to give details who those people were, but at least let people know there's a sexual misfortune here that is part of who you were and may affect also who you are today. So we need to consider that people have to account for the past. That is justice, and by doing that we have safety. Society never accounts for the past. They never do. So when you don't account for the past, worse will happen. Let's say now that you marry a man and this man has 5 grown children. Okay? Now, you become pregnant and think, oh, it's his first child. No. You find out one day, oh, he has 5 grown children. And I tell them, darling, who are these 5 men claiming they're your children? Yes, listen, when I was 15, man, I used to be very loose sexually. I impregnated some girls back then when I was 15, 16. Okay, but why didn't you tell me about it? Guess what? Are you going to be happy as a wife then? No, because your whole marriage is based on hoax. But guess what? That society always does. Society always sugarcoats their dirt. They always sugarcoat their crimes. That's why they love to have bad guys. That's why the United States had Osama bin Laden. Osama bin Laden was the bad guy the Americans wanted. So everyone could be upset with Osama bin Laden. Everyone could say that bin Laden and Al Qaeda were the ones harming America. No, the ones who were harming the United States were the Americans themselves with their neglectful behavior. But that's something nobody wanted to face. So 9/11 gave people the excuse they wanted. Bin Laden. When ISIS came up, it was ISIS. ISIS is harming the West. ISIS is destroying our civilization. No, your civilization in the West is being destroyed by your own sexual misconduct and your own your own narcissistic attitude towards one another. That's why. You see what I mean? Society always wants to have bad guys to project upon. They never want to let you know what we are the ones that are fucked up. We're the ones who have to improve, and it's on us when it doesn't happen. So any child that grows up and blames us, they're correct for doing so. We have to take it when they blame us. Any adult who suffers mental issues because how we neglect them have a right to charge us for it. Because we are the ones who did it. Even if it's not me personally who were involved, I'm still part of the same society that did it. So I also take responsibility for it because I want to be part of that society. So if I want to be part of that society, I will also participate in the blame of that society. Simple as that. And out there, if you join a gang and the gang commits a crime, you can be charged too for the crime, even though you didn't commit it yourself, because you're part of a criminal organization. So whatever the criminal organization does, you also bear blame with it. But the same thing with society. If you're part of society and society does shit, you're also a participant in the blame of society, even if you didn't do the crime yourself. Simple as that. Society is a smooth criminal. Society always will blame you when you face unpleasant surprises that come from them. And that's why I tell you, believers, if it's about you, take account of the past. If you were the victim, process you were the victim. Realize those people were unreliable. If you were a collaborator, or worse, a victimizer, admit it and be motivated to be far better today. Simple as that. You can't undo your participation in negativity. Some of those consequences will be there till the day Christ comes back. But anyway, at least you could be better today. Okay? Take account. That's what we need to do. So, by the way, that thing with John F. Kennedy, it was a ritual to traumatize the public. And it was a punishment for John F. Kennedy siding with the black community in the United States. But that's another thing. Look, everyone needs to take account of the past, whether you were the victim, or you were the collaborator, or you were the victimizer. Everyone needs to take account so that we can all be better off today. That's how you comply with justice. Anytime anyone does someone comply with justice because she's going to be left alone or they come with excuses, I'm sorry. You have to mark them as swine. You have to mark them as dogs. You have to mark them as creeps. Simple as that. Stop sugarcoating it. And too many of you are still sugarcoating some of the people around you. Start seeing other people in a scientific way. What are they? And what are they contributing to? If someone is a victim and dysfunctional, okay, they're just a victim. If they're willing to admit that they were victimized and the community is fucked up, okay, then you can deal with them because they're willing to be part of the solution. But if they don't want to admit it, then they become collaborators. And some of them even become victimized themselves. But that's another thing. Listen, we need to account for the past. That's how we become safe today. That's how we can give our children a better future. So, in church, tell you, we can't do anything about the past, which is a lie. No, you can't change the past, but you can do something about it. You hear me? I mean, if you say we can't change the past, so leave it alone, that means the police shouldn't arrest killers then. Then why do we have rapists going to prison then? Why do we have a sex offender registry then to warn people of sex offenders? If the attitude be just leave the past behind, forgive, forget. No, you have to take account of the past. Simple as that. So you can be better and responsible today. Anyone who refuses to do that, they are either a collaborator or a victimizer themselves. They're not victims. If you refuse to take account of the past to participate better today, you are either a collaborator or a victimizer yourself. Simple as that. And I'm telling you, this robbing sensation, you feel like someone's about to rob you, like someone's about to jump on you and take from you. When you feel this around people, when you really feel this danger around people, don't ignore it. Do not ignore it. Respectful, Joe. Learn to drop the term respect. You should know that respect is rooted in sexual trauma in ancient Greece. Okay, honor. We deal with honor as believers, not with respect. But anyway, I get what you mean. And you know what? Sometimes the Heavenly Father covers you when you're being robbed. Maybe there were people you used to hang around. They may not even have been unbelievers. Some people may even have been believers who were undelivered. But you were being drained being around them. But the Holy Spirit kept filling up your energy field anytime you were drained. So you didn't notice you were being drained because the Holy Spirit kept filling it up back. But years later, you think about these people, and now you suddenly feel quite exhausted. The thing is, things you don't know why you feel so physically exhausted. Because you think I slept enough, I ate well, I worked out. Why do I feel so tired these days? It's because years ago you were being drained. But Holy Spirit back then kept you going by filling up your energy field back again. But now that you reflect back with your mind picks up how bad it was. So now you feel this how bad it really was. You're out of the best situation. The best situation is years ago, but now you feel how bad it was. This is when now you feel tired. If you think about someone, if you think about someone that you used to be involved in the past, whether it was sexually, whether it was just on a friendship level, or whether it was just on work as colleagues, if you think about someone in the past and suddenly feel this exhaustion over you, well, that shows you are being robbed. And this individual was either a demonic portal or they're actually the one robbing you. Simple as that. You get me? Today, I felt tired, really tired. And thing is, while I was at work, because I worked 9 hours today for the tax office, I was working from home. I wasn't tired at all. You know what I mean? But when I began to just reflect and some memories came up, suddenly the tiredness hit in. And I began to fellowship with some believers on the phone. And I was thinking, what the heck? Suddenly, some of the memories that came back of things that happened, I'm thinking, what the heck was I thinking hanging out with those people? What the heck? Because I didn't notice how toxic it was back then. But now that I'm out of the situation, I reflect back, the mind shows what really is. It was bad. You know what I mean? Look, most of the time when you're being robbed energetically, you're not aware of it yourself. You're not. Just think about it. If someone comes to your house and they want to steal your couch, you're going to notice it because the couch is quite big. You have to dis you have to disassemble the couch and bring it through the door, carry it downstairs, all that. So it's not easy to come and steal a couch from you. It's not easy to come and steal a table from you. But someone can come to your house and steal a pen, or they can steal a vase, or a plate, or a fork, whatever. Such you can easily still get away with. So if a thief comes and takes away big objects, you know immediately something is wrong. And the big objects take a lot of effort to remove anyway, so the thief may not be able to steal them. But they are able to steal small things. Well, this is what you need to understand. Worldlings that remain worldlings for too long, they all become thieves. They will never fully charge you with their negativity or their toxicity. They will never do that. But little by little, they will pollute you and poison you with their toxic denial, which is called toxic positivity in the world, which is not positivity at all, with their toxic denial, or they will poison you with their cynicism or their backwardsness. And by doing that, they actually sabotage you. You're not even aware of it. So even though you did not sabotage yourself, you end up being sabotaged by staying around certain people. Only years later, you find out, then it's too late. They are thieves, I'm telling you. And from thieves, they turn into murderers. Some of them, if you confront them about their attitude, either they'll explode on you and physically harm you. So from thieves, they become murderers, just like their spiritual daddy, Satan, is. All right? So again, do not ignore this sensation of being robbed when you're around certain people. Look, I'm not talking about you disliking people. When you dislike someone else, you are the ones robbing them because you project your unrest onto them. That's not right. If you feel like someone is taking too much of your time, by time is not even yours to begin with. But anyway, if you think like someone is not acting the way you want and you get upset, they're not draining you. You're the one draining because you keep wanting to bind people to your expectations. So not everyone that you feel exhausted around is automatically dangerous. I'm not saying that everyone you feel exhausted around is dangerous. Sometimes you feel exhausted around them because of how you think and feel about them. If you feel and think about them the wrong way, you may feel exhausted when they're around, but that doesn't mean that anything wrong with them. Something's wrong with you. I'm talking about when objectively you get this sense of danger from them that they're about to rob you. You feel like you're missing out if you're around them. If you're around people, you feel like you're missing out when you're around them, and the sensation of missing out stays for long, get away from those people. You hear me? Let me repeat it one more time. If you're around people and you feel like they're about to rob you, feel like you're missing out, you're losing, and this sensation of missing out persists, I'm telling you, get away from those people. You don't have to ghost them, nor block them, or unfriend them on social media, whatever. Just politely move away from them. Peacefully get away from them. Make excuses. Oh, I need to go. I need to go to work. Oh, I need to do some homework. Make excuses. Walk away from them. Don't argue with them. Don't fight them. Don't cause any conflict. Just move away from them. I'm telling you. Do not make excuses in this area. Don't do it. Now, if you are in denial and you don't want to face yourself, and someone keeps calling you out, and you get tired, now in this case, it's you. You should face yourself. If you face yourself, they won't have any need to call you out. So not every time you feel uncomfortable when someone means there's something wrong with them. Sometimes it's just you. So you have to look at yourself too. I'm talking about if you objectively feel like you're continuously missing out, or you feel like you're being robbed on someone, get away from that individual. I'm telling you, get away from them. They're bad news. I'm telling you, they're bad news. And Jesus never told you to embrace bad news. Okay? He never told you to do that. Jesus himself walked away from such people. So why aren't you doing it? All right. Are there any questions about this topic? Please let me know now. Are there any questions about this topic? Let me know now, please. Let me know. By the way, I'm going to make some phone calls out this live stream too. Praise the Lord. God is good. And so weird things have been going on in the Netherlands lately. But anyway, again, just because you feel uncomfortable with someone doesn't automatically mean it's them. Sometimes you because you don't relate to them properly. Okay, so examine yourself too. But objectively, without you having any bad attitude towards them or any negative view of them, you feel this sensation like you're losing when you're around them. You're missing out, like you're missing out on something, or you feel like you're being robbed. Get away from them. Mhm. All right. Do not make excuses. Do not shoot. Listen, the only time you sugarcoat something, if something is too painful to admit, you sugarcoat it for a moment till you can process it better. You do this with little children. We do this with adults who are going through a mental shock. Sometimes it's too much for people to actually admit something. Then you sugarcoat it in a, not that it's not dangerous, but you kind of soften the way you say it. There's always sugarcoat things, but you should. But inside, where you should never sugarcoat something that's obviously dangerous into your face right now. Never. If you were the victim, account for the past and admit the people around you were not reliable. Don't act like they were good people while they were not. If you were to collaborate, admit that it was wrong for you to not face things around you and allow things to continue. If you were the victimized because you wanted to escape or be left alone, admit how horrible you were and be motivated to be a better, safe human being today. As simple as that. So you aren't around it, but you still feel like you're missing out. What is that? It's a question one asked. That means that somewhere you are stuck in a loop. You're stuck somewhere, and that's why you're not moving forward. So that's something you need to look at yourself for and find help for. Hmm. Look, if you were the victim, but you became this, let's say you became a smoker because you were dealing with stress from your childhood. The childhood stress was not your fault. You were the victim. But now you kept on smoking, you're collaborating now because now you are participating in a bad influence that will harm other people. So you're not evil, you're not a victimizer, but you're a collaborator. So okay, I need to stop this addiction. I need to look for help so I can actually heal and participate to actual solutions. Okay, if you were the victimized because you just want to be left alone, left alone, left alone, my way or the highway, free will, my body, my choice, blah blah blah, that made you were a horrible human being. You're one of the reasons why things went wrong. You were bad news, and be motivated to be good news today. And if you're ever confronted about how you used to be, take it because you were okay with it back then. So you should also be okay now being confronted about it. Simple as that. If you're okay doing it back then, shamelessly knowing you were wrong, knowing that you could have done better, or you didn't care about better, then be also brave now to accept the confrontation with it. Simple as that. Don't say, "Oh, I'm a believer now." No, no, no. You're a believer. I'm happy with that. But whatever you did back then, or whatever you neglected back then, still affects a lot of people today. If people died because you contribute to a bad climate, those people are still dead. You can't give them back life. And so the relatives will always miss them. The community has to miss out of their input. So don't act like you're the victim now if people confront you about the bad that you contributed to. No, take it. Yes, admit, yes, I did it, I was wrong, and I'm totally against now. I'm a better human being now, I'm contributing to better. You hear me? Don't say leave me alone, it's the past. I don't want to talk about it. I moved on. No, you participated in things getting worse, so now the word's still echoing around because of you. Admit it, or also admit I'm not part of the solution. Join me in the solution too. Simple as that. That's justice. That's how every thought operates. Some believers think, oh, because they're a believer now, they shouldn't be confronted with anything from the past. I'm sorry, who are you? Who are you? It's not happening this way. If the victims have to take account and take some losses because they can't get certain things back, why the heck does the perpetrator or a collaborator have the right to get away and just be left alone? Are you kidding me? Hell no. Not happening over here. Not happening, Mr. Dawson. I call you out immediately. You go to a courthouse immediately with me. I become the courthouse immediately for you if you act that way. I become the judge on you immediately if you act that way. Hell no, not happening over here. And if someone is dysfunctional as an adult, the whole community has to come why they're dysfunctional. If someone is getting drunk every weekend, guess what? Now you have people telling, hey, you drank enough. I'm going to call a cab for you. Go home. There are places where they do that. If you see you drank enough at a club or a bar, they call, even the bartender will call the taxi or the cab, and or the Uber driver, and you're at home. But if you are getting drunk every weekend as an alcoholic, people just let you do because you're adult, none of our business, and you end up killing someone in a car crash. The whole community is responsible for that individual dying, not just you. You may go to jail because you end up killing someone while driving drunk, but the whole community killed this individual because they should have intervened when you were crashing. They didn't do it, so it's on them. And it's a problem. When you call out society, tell you move on, it's a past, or it wasn't bad, they always have an excuse or a reason why you shouldn't talk about it. But if you did something that they didn't like, decades can pass by, they always call it out. I'm telling you, society is a smooth criminal. That's what society is. As believers, don't participate in that shit, all right? I become a judge unto you directly. I will even enforce spiritual sentence on you if you think you can get away not complying with justice. Whether you're a believer or unbeliever, that's how it works with me. That's how it works with me. I don't care if you're even a believer. Everyone has the obligation to comply with justice, whether you were the victim or a collaborator or a victimizer. Everyone has to comply with justice. It's an obligation of everyone. Everyone is contribute to the well-being, the long-term well-being and sanity and safety of the community. What the heck? Listen, that's why I said it. My live streams and my influence folks will take it, take it, take it. If they get resentful, they have to swallow it, swallow it, and swallow it at their own expense. I don't care. And if any of you have issues with my live streams about sexual health, and me being so blunt and direct about it, please get a life, please. Please get a life. That's also an area where we need to comply injustice with sexuality. And I address it openly. I don't give anyone a pass to be neglectful and harmful to their own community when it comes to sex. Nobody. Believer nor unbeliever. Nobody. I give a pass. Amen. God is good. All right. I didn't get any more questions. Thank you all for being here. Keep on agreeing with Christ. Be at peace and see you next time. Shalom. God is good all the time. Amen.